Right, the next category we're going into is food issues. And researchers in Washington state this week have again failed to live track a massive murder hornet, with the fearsome bug going fugitive as local officials attempt to locate and destroy their nests before the insect's bee killing season begins. A key line: these murder hornets kill off the bees. Now, the latest tracking attempt saw a public entomologist with Washington State Department of Agriculture fix a tracking device to a female Asian giant hornet, better known by its more intimidating moniker, the murder hornet. But the bug made a break into the forest and the device went dark. Why are they putting it on the device, not just killing it? Now, the teams and neighbours tracked the hornet from tree to tree for about an hour before losing her signal in the forest, according to the department update on Monday. And both staff and several neighbours spent the remainder of the afternoon searching the area for the tracking signal, which would transmit for approximately 12 hours, but unfortunately it could not be located. Now, the previous attempt to track one of the aggressive arthropods, which is the largest wasp on Earth, measuring up to 2 inches in length. 2 inches. Failed after a tracking device detached from the creature before it returned to its nest. Now, more recent efforts used dental floss to attach the device instead of glue, but it still didn't work. Now, whilst the insect sting has been known to be fatal to human beings, deadly encounters with people are somewhat rare. But the bug's nickname instead comes from its tendency to wipe out honeybee nests on a seasonal basis, and what Spickiger termed its slaughter phase, which he noted is now drawing near. Now, this bug is native to Asia, and only around 18 of the hornets have been spotted in Washington since they were first detected last year near the US border with Canada. No surprise. However, their devastating attacks on beehives makes them a potentially serious pest, prompting the search and destroy efforts by local officials. Now, one has to ask, here we go, common sense questions again. Is this insect genetically modified for war against peoples and countries? And the reason being, with the large Asian gang-related populace just across the border in Vancouver, and we'll cover more on that later, one does wonder if these insects are being used and placed deliberately to damage America's food supply. And it also proves they have devices small enough to fit on insects and use them as target devices, which I believe one was used 2 years ago that hit Kim in the just below her eye. That thing didn't look real, and it's not. Now, after I warned of it in the spring of last year, here now comes the proof of that prediction of the food shortage. With this report, and it says in 2020 we are witnessing an explosion of hunger in the United States that is unlike anything that we've seen since the Great Depression of the 1930s. Tens of millions of Americans have lost their jobs since the start of this fake pandemic, and money is running low for a whole lot of people. And there's an article about a survey that found out that 1 of every 5 Americans will be out of cash by election day. 20%. And that more Americans are slipping into poverty with each passing month, and this has created an unprecedented surge of demand at food banks across the nation. Meanwhile, our growing economic problems are causing donations to dry up, and so many food banks are facing a major crunch as we head into 2021. In fact, Feeding America is warning that their network of food banks is potentially facing a, quote, 8 billion meal shortage, unquote, 8 billion meals short over the next 12 months. And the dire shortage comes as tens of millions of Americans have turned to local food banks for help amid the pandemic-triggered surge in unemployment and also food insecurity. But how in the world are we going to make up 8 billion meals shortfall? Is the question they asked. Well, I have a solution for that, and we'll have it shortly. And of course, that number assumes that things won't get dramatically worse in our society next year. And if they do, the true number could end up being far greater, according to the Food or Feeding America people. Like I said, this should greatly alarm all of us, because food banks are the last resort for millions upon millions of desperate Americans. Now, in 2019, approximately 35 million Americans were dealing with food insecurity. But thanks to this fake pandemic, Feeding America now expects that number to rise to 54 million, 1 in 6. One has to ask, where is the trustee? And what are they going to do about this? Now, some will say that comment is not fair. But I will say I was not the one who stated we are the all singing, all dancing and the only doing group either. Because if you make out you are the only saviours, the people will expect you to save us. You can't have it both ways. But whilst money is being sent to Israel for fake PPEs and money's going missing in Mexico, what about the actual American people? You know, I'm sure she's trying, but these questions have to be answered, as why haven't the American people been funded? Now, the simple solution to this is both Trump and Biden give away half of their current campaign donations back to the food banks, which is estimated at around $500 million. At least that way, that money will be put to some proper use.